Well, guys, the Raptors' worst case scenario came true. The Raptors lose their 2024 first round pick to the San Antonio Spurs after it falls to number 8. It is going to be conveyed to the Spurs as part of the Jakob Poeltl trade that happened at the 2023 NBA trade deadline. So I'm just going to give you my raw reaction to this. Drop a like, guys. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. The Toronto Raptors, they did not have luck on their side. The ping pong balls did not go in favor of them, as the Raptors, they did everything they needed to do to ensure that they would have a chance of keeping their pick down the stretch. They intentionally tanked. They finished with a bottom 6 record, and all in all, they had a 45.8% chance of keeping its 2024 first round pick. So we still knew there was a good percentage, better than 50% chance that the Raptors were going to lose this pick. But still, if you were team keep the pick like me, you held on. You were optimistic. You were hoping that the pick was going to fall in favor of the Raptors, potentially even moving on up. Raptors having Scotty Barnes represent them on the stage. Last time the Raptors moved up was in 2021 when they got number 4 and drafted Barnes. They're now face of the franchise. But instead, San Antonio gets the Raptors pick. The Raptors pick lands at number 8, as the Raptors, they now have no first round pick in the 2024 NBA draft after a season of losing, after a season of tanking, after one of the worst seasons in recent memory. And I was always on team keep the pick. I just felt that the Raptors really would have benefited from adding a top 6 talent now, because you just came off the disastrous season, because you're in the early stages of a rebuild, because you already have your nice core of Scotty Barnes, RJ Barrett, and Emmanuel Quickly once you lock them up this summer. So it would have been nice to have one of these top 6 names added to that, because now you look at the future. Okay, the Raptors, they do not owe a first round pick to the Spurs moving forward. So at least they have the Spurs out of their hair. They don't have to worry about the Spurs anymore. But I just don't see the Raptors being bad enough next season to tank. I don't see the Raptors wanting to endure another season of tanking and being terrible, because the Raptors revealed their hand this past season when they looked like a team that wanted to go for it. Out of the All-Star break, they were 3-0, starting to develop good habits. They did look like a team that was gunning for one of those final playing spots. But then once the Raptors had the injuries happen, particularly to Scotty Barnes, which started that domino effect, okay, then that's when the Raptors fully committed to the tank. So I really don't see a healthy Scotty Barnes, RJ Barrett, and Emmanuel Quickly being bad enough to even consider tanking next season, when I see the Raptors being, gunning for a play-in spot. I see the Raptors in that 9 to 10 play-in range, and I see the Raptors in that 10 to 14 lottery range. So the Raptors, they're going to have a slim chance of getting a top 5 pick next year, even though the draft's going to be very good, much better than this year's draft. So it's still going to average out. It's like the Raptors basically could have had a top 6 pick in this year's draft, which I think this draft is very underrated. But instead, now they move on with their picks fully intact. But are they even going to be bad enough to have a top talent? In all likelihood, based on what I see happening, it's going to be a late lottery pick next year. That's obviously if health is on the Raptors side. So I know there are people that are happy that this happened, because the Raptors can now move on forward without their picks being tied to San Antonio. And again, if they're bad in 2025, you do have your pick in a good draft class. But I just see a lot of value for the Raptors adding a top 6 talent now. And I just don't see this team being very bad again. So it's unfortunate that it went this way. It's the lottery gods weren't on the Raptors side. I mean, they were on the Hawks side, who jumped up 9 spots to win the lottery. But now, guys, the Raptors, no first round pick in this upcoming draft. They'll have number 19 and number 31. And this hurts. I did want this pick. I stated it many times. And I really think the Raptors would have been in a good position to add to their core now. And here's the other thing. People who are already touting the Raptors should tank next year, this just proved that more times than not, tanking doesn't work. The Raptors literally went through a clear, horrendous tank, and they have nothing to show for it. The Pistons have gotten screwed now 2 years of losing a bunch of games. So it doesn't even ensure anything. So this one does hurt. Obviously, as time moves on, you're going to be able to look at the silver lining of things. But I really wanted the Raptors to keep their pick for this year. I'm sure a lot of people did as well. But you look at the Raptors, guys, what hurts even more is the fact that the Raptors came close to landing the number one pick. The Raptors were reportedly one of 7 teams that had a chance at the number one pick heading into the final draw of the NBA draft lottery. This is per the Athletic. So the Raptors could have very well been the Atlanta Hawks in this position. Again, the Raptors had a 45.8% chance of keeping their pick. If it had fallen within the top 6, they would have kept the pick. If it falls outside of the top 6 at number 8, it goes to San Antonio. So now the Raptors are going to have to decide how they want to proceed from this point on. Are they going to elect to be bad once again to get a top pick in the 2025 NBA draft, or are they just going to roll with the punches here and see how this team performs? And, what's going to happen, obviously, with the Bruce Brown situation. I think the Raptors trade him now, indeed. I mean, I was always on Bruce Brown as a trade chip. Maybe they try to trade Bruce Brown for a pick to kind of get one back here. But there's going to be a lot of interesting things that stem from this. But just to reiterate, the Raptors will still have 2 picks, 19 and 31, as the NBA draft will be the 26th and 27th of June at Barclays Center in Brooklyn. So, right now, still feeling a certain way about it. Wanted the Raptors to keep that pick. Thought they were. It went the other way. Raptors, no pick, no first round pick, that is, in this upcoming 2024 NBA draft. San Antonio, they have number 8, they have number 4, and man, are they going to be able to stack up some talent around Wemby soon? Atlanta is the big winner. Again, they jump up big time. The Pistons, I would say, are the biggest loser. I won't say the Raptors are the biggest loser. They're probably right beside the Pistons. The Pistons by far are the biggest loser, in my opinion, because, again, in a position to get the number 1 pick, they fall to 5. But the Raptors are close to it because the Raptors, they did everything they were supposed to do. They were clearly tanking. It was ugly. We saw how bad that team was. And I don't think anybody wants to endure that again, especially when there's no guarantee at the end of it. As there was no guarantee at the end of this, we learn after all those ugly losses, those brutal lineups, that terrible last stretch of basketball, it results in the Raptors losing their pick. So, we'll see how management decides to proceed from here. There is a lot in store, but Raptors lose their first round pick. How you feeling, guys? Are you pissed? Are you happy, relieved that there's no more pick tied to San Antonio? Let me know your thoughts down below. Hit a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. That is it for me. It's Lucas signing off. Thanks so much for watching. I'll catch you all again in the next one.